No, it's a great album. I'm not putting the album down, just our relationships. You see, you have to think, I don't just look at it, listen to the record, I'm going through what our relationships were at the time, you know, and they changed all the time. And I felt our relationship was better on the White Album, and definitely on Abbey Road.
According to George, according to John, it was all over by Let It Be. By the time Let It Be was being filmed and recorded, according to George and according to John, they
it was.
That
yeah,
was
but
it.
That's because George left. George left on Let It Be. We were very possessive of each other, you know. The four of us had been through a lot together, and we were very close most of the time. We weren't close all the time. And it went round, you know, I'd be close with John, I'd be close with George, I'd be close with Paul, they'd be close, John and I and George would be close, Paul, John and George would be, you know, it went round in a lot of circles. But most of the time, four of us were very close, and I don't know, I thought we were very possessive of each other in a way, you know, not like, you know, a mother-son thing, you know, but just with ourselves. And we didn't like strangers coming in too much. And the wives and the girlfriends never came to the studio. That was where we were together. And I think that's why we worked so well, because there was just the four of us, and there was no outside influence, unless we brought it in, like, you know, someone to come down and play on it, or make it flash past for an hour or so, because he had nothing to do, or whatever, you know, those things. But basically it was just the four of us recording, and it was intense, you know, and dramatic, and we were trying to get the record done the best we could. We'd do one track for a week, you know. It'd take us a week to do one track, just the backing track sometimes. So we all got a bit weird, and, you know, I was wondering what was happening one day. So I was saying to John, you know, what is going on here? You know, you're always together all the time, you know, you're freaking me out a bit. What's happening? And he told me what they were trying to do. It's nothing to do with you, the listening public. But he told me what they were doing, so then I was fine after that. I thought, oh, well, okay, I mean, that's how he wants to do it, you know, that's fine with me. And then I sort of relaxed a lot around Yoko. I think she's hysterical. I played on an album with her. I think that's one of them. Also, I think the other one is that George was getting a lot of independence for himself in those days. He was writing more, he wanted things to go his way, where when we first started, they basically went John and Paul's way, you know, because they were the writers, and they'd say, you know, this is the song. I would play as creatively as I could, and they would say, can you do this? But sometimes I'd have three people telling me how to do it, and I'd play it the only way I could, and it seemed to work, you know, because the three frustrated drummers I used to have in my band, or in the band, because they all wanted to play drums, and I couldn't play guitar, so it didn't matter. And I think that really helped me play in a way, because they all... And I kept screaming, there's two drummers, you know, they're saying, play this, like on that track, I'm saying, for Christ's sake, there's two drums there. They could never hear that, you know, they just hear some drum thing going on. And so you'd have to have four arms to do half of the stuff they wanted me to do. So I would do it however I could. Anyway, back to George. And the other reason, I think Paul George was finding his independence, and he wouldn't be dominated as much by Paul as he was. Because Paul would, in the end, wanted to like point out the solo to George, and George was saying, "Well, I'm a guitarist. I'll play the solo," and he always did. You know, he always played fine solos for what our band was. You know, like I played for what our band was. John's the greatest rhythm guitarist still, and he plays lead in a crazy sort of way. I think that was another factor, because George left with a big row with Paul. Because Paul like wanted to point out how to play, because it was his song, you see. I mean, he had sort of a right, but no right at all to do that, you know, to say, I wrote the song. It got a bit like, I wrote the song, I want it this way, where before it was, I want the song, give me what you can give me, you know, which that's how it was earlier on. So, and also, you know, well, we were all married by then, you know, the family, and everyone wanted to do different things, and I wanted to be in movies and stuff. I don't know. And, you know, as I said, with George writing a lot, so how many songs is he going to get? And then I started writing. I used to have one song, you know, then if I wrote two, I would have liked two on, but it would have been a battle, you know, to get two of mine on. Then because it doesn't matter what I've written today, I still haven't topped Lennon and McCartney. They wrote some fine, fine songs. fine songs, not just because I was in the band and I was with them. They have written some incredible things, you know. We've been together so long. We were living our own lives, you know. I think that I couldn't put my finger on one thing why we broke up. It was time, and we were spreading out, you know. Well, they were spreading out more than I was. I would have stayed with the band.